All right, all right, all right. Welcome to today's webinar where we're going to take a look at Windchill's project link to help project managers and other people in the enterprise basically stay well informed to be able to continue to push forward their initiatives and goals and objectives that they have within the projects that they are leading. My name is Rob Romanowski. I'm the Director of Sales Operations for 3HTI, and leading our presentation and demo today is Zach Carson, a solutions consultant and applications engineer from PTC's Virtual Center of Excellence. And I mean, University of Pittsburgh only puts out excellence anyway. So Zach, thank you for leading us today. If anybody has any questions, you can put those into the chat. We'll try to answer them as we go. We will definitely answer them at the end. And keep your hands and feet inside the ride while it's moving. Zach, it's all yours.
All right, thanks, Rob.
You're welcome.
Go Pitt. I like that. So, yeah, today we're going to be talking about Project Link. Basically, what Project Link does is it enables you to create and manage your project plan and project execution, as well as collaborate with the entire supply chain and then manage all of the associated project data in one central secure location. So let's begin by discussing some challenges around project management that we commonly see across different industries. It starts with an increasing customer and market demand. So what does that mean? Well, unfortunately, it means you have to do way more in way less time. And that's a challenge for virtually every company now because products have just gotten so complex. While you're managing that, what we also see a lot of times is internal cost pressure. You have to lower the cost of goods sold. You have to reduce the time it takes to actually get out to market. You have to optimize your spending, optimize your inventory, improve efficiency in the workforce. And these are really hard challenges to accommodate for, especially as the products continue to get more and more complex. What also tends to increase in complexity is the supply chain. So now you have more complex products and you have to outsource more of the execution for those products and projects. And the challenge in doing so is that as the supply chain gets more and more complex, companies just don't have tools that are made to collaborate across the whole supply chain. And that's on top of the challenges just within your organization. So what we see a lot of times is customers end up like packaging up zip files and sending emails or doing that to just share documentation. And it's a really informal process. And frankly, it's just not that good. There's no visibility into what you're sending. There's lots of room for manual error. I mean, even down to the degree of did you grab the wrong document or did you grab an old document, even though maybe it was you kind of thought it was the right one, it's not the right version of that one. So these are challenges we see every single day, and they're really hard to fix without a tool dedicated to actually addressing them. The tool that we have, PTC offers as a solution to these challenges, is Windchill Project Link. And this gives you universal access to the supply chain. So everybody has one space to collaborate, and you can share information back and forth, both internally and even with people that you're working with externally on projects. So you don't have to do some in SharePoint. You don't have to do some in OneDrive and maybe email the smaller stuff, do that somewhere else. Maybe you're doing something in Microsoft Teams. You can do all of it in one place, which is Windchill. So as we go through this, I'm going to really break these capabilities down into two buckets. And the first one is project plans. So when we talk about what you're getting with Windchill Project Management or Project Link, first and foremost, it's going to give you the ability to create and manage project plans. These plans are going to allow you to, number one, create templates, which make the creation process way simpler and more streamlined and ensure that you're including particular information. And then it also allows you to really get granular in what your project plan and execution is going to look like. Such as, a lot of times people that use this are going to follow like an APQP process or something like that. So you have your 5 phases, we'll outline the 5 phases, and then you can have tasks and even sub-projects within those, and then meet all or lay out all of the criteria for how long it's going to take. how much work is going to go into it, and ensure that you're tracking that work and meeting the deliverables. So the templates, as I mentioned, are a really good way in doing this. You create a template once, you can reuse it across the projects. You're going to be able to track all of your work and tie that to deliverables. So you can make sure for a deliverable, hey, I have created all this documentation, or I've updated all this documentation, and then the designer that I'm outsourcing some work to has created the model, and we can tie it all to an individual deliverable. This provides you with a way to track work through, literally tracking work through the track work option in here. You can also do it through activities, through milestones, and we can create, which we'll talk about later, action items as well. A lot of times what we also see is we see the ability to, or we see customers using the ability to interact with Microsoft Project. So without a project management tool, or without doing this in Windchill, a lot of times what they will do is manage the project in Microsoft Project, and they'll outline what the project looks like and the different phases and gates and all of that stuff. And then they can actually bring that into Windchill and synchronize the two so that Windchill can act as the executioner of the, for lack of a better word, of the tasks and everything that go into the project. Finally, what you're going to get in here is the project view. So this is a nice one-stop shop to take a look at all of your projects and track the progress and current status. So it's basically a project dashboard that you can look at all of your projects and create filtered lists to look through those projects as well. So it's almost a reporting function that's built into the system. As I mentioned, the other piece of this that we'll talk about capability-wise is collaboration. So within this tool, what is really unique about it and so powerful is Project Link will give you the ability to treat projects as a sandbox. So if you're familiar with Windchill, the kind of the common shared space of Windchill we call PDM Link, and the project space we call Project Link. So what you can actually do in this is you can both create unique information inside of a project, or you can actually share information to the project from PDM Link. What's really nice about this is, since it acts like a sandbox, it's very secure and safe. It gives you kind of a playpen or a sandbox for you to collaborate with suppliers, but they don't have any visibility into PDM Link, which is where the rest of your IP is stored. That's what makes this such a perfect place to collaborate. Now, as you're collaborating, of course, you're going to have to utilize some tasks and activities. And the way that we're going to do that really for ad hoc tasks is through action items. So what you can do is you can say, hey, I'm working with this person, this supplier who's going to be designing a particular part that's going to go into my assembly on this project. Let me assign them an action item to go and do the design work. And then whenever they log in, they'll have a task waiting for them. They go in, they design, they complete the task, and then I get a notification once they've completed the task that I need to go in and review it. That also kind of goes hand in hand here with the last point, which is routing and workflow. So in the system with projects, there's out-of-the-box functions for different routes, which are basically the project lingo for workflows. And these are usually basic routes, but they're completely configurable. So you can do things like a simple review route, or simply assign a task. But these are just basic workflows that are going to automate the process and make sure all of this stuff is streamlined. So with that being said, let me check for questions, and then if there's none, we can jump into the demo.
No questions at this time, Zach.
Okay. Then let's go ahead and jump in here. All right. So today we're working in Windchill. I'm going to be logged in as Pat. So Pat's a project manager and has basically admin control. So you might not necessarily see everything that I'm showing, but we're just going to be focusing on a project. So there's nothing too crazy in here that we're going to be looking at today. All right. Now, where I want to start is within the project context. So if you have the project link functionality, then this is something that's going to be just another context right here. right? This is just another way to organize and store information. You know, you might already be familiar with products and libraries. Projects another way that we're going to organize data. So whenever I go into projects, I'm going to look at all my projects, and this is basically my project dashboard. So this is where I can see all of the projects, and I have a filter applied to look at them all by state. Okay, so these are all running right now, but you can pick and choose. Hey, show me like an APQP view. All right, well, this is going to show me information that I've configured that I want to see for an APQP view, right? So I can see like the project leader, direct customer, different codes, the technical feasibility, all this stuff. This is all configurable. The nice part about this is it's just giving me an easy way or an easy dashboard that I can filter through and show the information that I want to see. From here, what I can do is select on this project or on this new project icon, and that's going to launch the wizard to build out a new project. Now, when you're doing this, I can't emphasize enough how much you want to use templates, because a template is really what's going to fill in and a lot of the information and sort of fast track the creation of these projects. So I'm going to select APQP here at the top. Right, this is my type, and we'll just call this, say, APQP demo project. Select my template, and the type up here is telling me what attributes that I want to enter in, and then the template is going to fill in a lot of the information once we're in the project. So that's why we selected both there. Now, for me, I want to start this at kickoff. I'm not really going to fill in a lot of this, but you can take a look at what these are. You know, you can make them whatever you want. So I don't want to get stuck on those. But what I do want to talk about are some of these options at the bottom. And this is really important. So whenever you're setting up these projects, what you can do is, number one, you can say, do I want to share this to other projects or programs? Okay, well, I don't want to do that. Do I want to identify out of sync shared objects? Yes. Why is this important? Well, a lot of the information in your project could be shared from other locations inside of Windchill. Okay, so I might take a couple designs or documents that I have that I used in a product and reuse those in a project, or grab general documentation from a library, reuse it in the project. Well, what happens is, since that information lives in PDM Link, I might make my changes internally in PDM Link, and by checking this box, Project Link will recognize automatically when that shared information is out of date, and then we can just click with the click of a button, synchronize it to update. You can also pick and choose the execution control. So do I want to do it manually or automatically, which means as we go through the different milestones and we progress through our project, it's going to automatically update. And as we go to different stages, assign the respective tasks. Okay, and then finally, do I want to link deliverables with all of the project activities? This is really nice because it'll do it up front, but if you don't check this box, then you can alternatively just assign or create deliverables and align them with activities ad hoc. Okay. Now for this demonstration, we're going to go into a project that already exists. Now I've done some work in this, but there's a couple cool things that I'll point out for you. So number one, whenever I go into a project, set up pretty much identical to a product. So if you've worked with products before, you know, organizing information, a couple different options here, but it's pretty much the same. There's a lot of continuity there, so you'll have no problem just jumping into a project. The details page is the first one that I want to look at. And this is all just general information that's, you know, all configurable. You could put whatever you want on here. So I have just like general, you know, status, what phase we're in, some PPM attributes, project attributes, general stuff. The folders are where we start to really do a lot of the nitty-gritty type of stuff in projects. And there's some pretty cool things in here. So what we can do in here is either create new information or share information. Now, whenever we created the project for this, I used a template, okay? And when I use that template, all of these folders, the whole structure here with the, each level, this was already built into the template. So when I started up, I didn't create any of this, okay? It's already there from your template, and that's why it's so important to reuse it. Have the structure, have the project plan, even have literal documents and objects built into the template. It's gonna make your life way easier. So when I come in here, you see I have some different options. So I can create new objects in here. What I can also do is if I go to another location, right? So I have another tab open, and this is actually looking at documents from a library. It's a different context entirely. I could add this to my project. Okay, so you can right click, you can add to project, and then it'll sort through everything, or you can browse through everything and find what you need and add it to the exact folder location. What is way easier, if you ask me, is I just click on it in the library, click copy, or I gotta check the box. You can also right click and just hit copy. And now I come in here and I can just paste it. Okay, so what I've done there is I've taken a document that is from our internal library, and I have shared it to the project. And what you'll see is when I did that, it was this top document. This icon appears shared from PDM. That's really important because if that icon's not there, this is an object that lives strictly in that project. Okay, this one is actually built into the template. So when I created a new project from the template, that document was already there. Now, if you go back to the original one that I shared, let me refresh this page. You'll see this object also has an icon that says shared to a project. So whether it's someone working internally or I'm sorry, internally within your PDM link or just within a project, all parties are going to have visibility into where that object is coming from. Now, what's really neat about this, let me go to a different folder, is I have all kinds of CAD in here, and you can see a lot of this, I think all of it actually, is all going to be shared from PDM. Now, what's really important, I touched on this before, is the fact that this acts like a sandbox. So what I can do in here is if I want to modify any of this, I actually can do a couple different things. I can do a save as and create a copy and maybe just have it kind of live on its own and make project specific changes, but I use the original part as a basis. That's one way of doing it. But if I wanted to modify this part, so we'll take this SCAD carbide, I think it's a type of ski, or yeah, it's a rail for the ski of our snowmobile. So if I right click on this, what you'll see is I can convert to PDM checkout. Now, what is that doing? Well, what it's doing is it's saying, okay, you can't technically check this item out just in the project because it's shared from PDM link. So what I can do now is if I do that convert to PDM checkout, it's actually grabbing it, it's grabbing it from PDM link, doing the checkout, and now I can make project specific changes in here. And what you'll see is it says checked out from PDM because it was shared from PDM. If I open to this object inside of PDM link, you would see that it's been shared to a project and that it's checked out within a project. So if I open this up, I have an icon here, checked out from PDM, and you can see in the top breadcrumb trail, we're just looking at the project object. We're not looking at the PDM link object. So I could do something simple. I could, we'll check out and edit this thing. And I could just change this, to something simple. Say by project change. Okay, and now this is going to iterate, and we'll see the comment in here whenever I check this back in that this has been changed. So right now it just says project change because I only made it in the project. But what's really important to notice is if you look at the version of this thing, it's actually a different versioning scheme in the project. So this is showing you, proving to you that I can go through and add something to a project that's at a certain version. And then once it's in the project, iterate this thing as many times as I want. And I don't have to push it back to PDM link until I'm ready. And if I don't ever want to push it back and overwrite the original one, then I can just do a save as and create a new part. Okay. So really useful stuff here. Once you're done, I can just go ahead and we'll send this back to PDM. And then if I were to open that in PDM, you would actually see a comment for the sent back to or checked out and modified in a project. Okay, so it would show up in the history. All right. Now within the project, of course, just like any other context, we also have a team. This team is unique to the project. You can add people in here in different roles, same as anything else in Windchill. So you kind of know how to do that already. If you've worked in Windchill before, it's no different here. What I really want to look at is the plan. The plan is another element of this that can be laid out and utilized in the template. So when I created this new project, I didn't create this plan again. I could modify the plan afterward, but the basis of this was already here. So, if you know APQP, here's your 5 phases, right? Plan, define, design, process design, product validation, feedback. So if I expand this thing, you can see all of these different activities. That's what these are. And then these are your gates. So you have like basically phases and gates. And within this, you can see all kinds of information for the work that we've planned to go into this versus what's actually been done. Then we have what's remaining, and Windchill can track the work complete. Just do a simple calculation to give you that, or you can manually enter that value. It's even going to show us a status. Now, this is kind of just all like visibility stuff. Whenever you start to go into any of these activities, you can actually see the information that goes into them. So if you were to select, like if I were to select view information for design FMEA, you'll see, well, I can track work here. So as I'm going through and I'm executing on this, I can update this information. Okay. Now some of this will recalculate as I update different values. And I can also track against deliverables. So if creating the DFMEA, if that's a document that I'm going to be working with, I could simply upload a document in this deliverable. And then once I'm done, I could come in here, edit this if I have access to, say when I start it, say when it's complete. And since these are going to be, especially deliverables, are going to be tasks that are assigned to people or objectives that we have, you can actually assign them to people and then provide notifications to make sure that everyone who's working on this deliverable is adhering to a particular deadline. Okay. Now from here, what else can we do? Well, I can open this up in a Gantt chart. So when I select on that, Windchill's just going to launch my Gantt chart. It's taking all the information from that process or from the project plan and just laying it out on this chart so I can see my status for all of my phases and gates. I can see who each task or each activity in this case was assigned to. A lot of these are just to myself here. See where milestones and deliverables are. Right, see all the dates at the top. So if you've worked with projects before, I'm sure you're already familiar with the Gantt chart. What you can also do is view this thing as a capacity report and make sure that everyone working on this is, basically within their work capacity. So Pat, the product manager, who again, I assign most of the stuff to myself because it's easy and I don't want to have to log in as a million different people. I'm pretty overloaded on work, as you can tell here. Right? But these are both just going to be automatically generated when you click the button. Okay. Now, throughout this, what you can do if you have all this built into a template, you can at any point come in here and start to build this out even more. So what you'll see here is if I right click, I have the ability to do all kinds of different things. I can insert new activities ad hoc. I can do multiple activities at once. We also support sub-plans. So a sub-plan is, the name pretty much says it. It's a plan within my project plan. So you can actually have like multiple plans here if you have a pretty big project. And then you have some abilities down here to synchronize and work with Microsoft project interoperability. So if you are using that tool, we could synchronize and work between them. Okay. You can also just do some of it from the toolbar, and you could pick what you want up here, or you can right click and you can just say, I want to insert an activity below what I have clicked on or as a child of this other one. So the point is it's really configurable. You can build out the plan exactly how you want. And then you can also, of course, create baselines to track configurations of this plan. So once you hit a certain point, you want to create a baseline for, I don't know, like a quarterly baseline, create that, and then you can compare them as well. If I selected a couple of these, you could do a comparison by clicking here, and it'll do a stack up side by side and show you the differences. Okay. So a couple last things here that I want to show. Tasks are a huge part of this. As you're going through all of these things and you're building out your plan and you're assigning tasks, each time that you create an activity, it will assign that activity as a task to someone in the system who you've assigned that activity to, or multiple people. And those will appear in the task table for that user. If I want to look at all of the tasks that I have within this project, that is just an option here in the Explorer. And this is all filterable. So these are all of the open activities and tasks and action items, everything that I have in here. If I wanted to filter this list and just look at like open action items, I could do that. I only have one, but I could just come in here and I could say, I need to quickly create a new action item, and this is going to give a task to Pat, but I could assign it to somebody else, and then we can, lay out all the criteria. Okay. Finally is reporting. So reporting, you can utilize your templated reports from the report builder in Windchill, use those across all of the different, or across all of your different projects. And you can even set up data monitors in here, which is a pretty nice tool, because what that'll do is it'll track changes in the information in any one of those reports. So I could come in here and build out any one of these. Like if I have let's see, do I have an APQP? I think I have an APQP report, right? So I just click on that. I choose what information I want to appear in the charts. And then once it's there, I don't think I updated this one in a while, but it'll query the information that I want. And this is all interactive. So if I were to select on, a slice of the pie chart, it'll update that information in the results table. Okay. The last thing that I'll mention, I forgot to talk about it before, was the routes. So this is going to be how we're going to manage pretty simple workflows and utilize simple workflows in projects. If I were to click on any one of these, what I can do is I can create routes in here. So I don't think I have it set up for this one, but if I went to, I think I can do it for documents. Yep. Okay, so if I wanted to create a new route, all right, well, I can't do that one. I set up some rules, I think, in the background to limit what I can do here. But the idea is, if I wanted to create a new route, what it'll do is give you an option to either do a review route or an approval route. And all that's doing is utilizing a simple workflow that's out of the box so that you don't have to build them, but you can configure them or build your own if you want to basically say, hey, I want to give this person a task, but I want it to be formal, right? I want a workflow behind the scenes working. I want it to be automated, assign that person a task, let me know when they've completed their task so that anyone who's logging into the system, it's just going to be right there on their task table whenever they log in, and that we have that formal process. And those will go through as emails as well. So if you're working with a supplier, utilize the route, assign them a task. They can see it on their home screen. They'll also get an email for it. And it's going to let them know, hey, you got to go do this because we got to stay on top of our project deadlines. And then you'll get a task back whenever they complete it. And it's a more formal process. It's way, 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 way better than just sending emails back and forth, which I've been there, done that in the past. It's a pain in the butt. So it's all about efficiency and collaboration. And that's really what we're doing here. So last thing I want to do is just summarize the benefits that you can get from this tool. Okay. So whenever we talk about what you're going to get with Windchill Project Link, number one, reducing time to market and increasing competitive advantage. So what does this mean? Well, I just kind of was talking about it. We're automating processes. We're improving collaboration. So that's going to really, really reduce the amount of downtime that you have and lost time just sent in manual error because you're automating, and also the amount of time that's lost, it's just in the abyss. You're waiting for someone to respond to an email and you kind of don't know where they're at in the process, right? We can update attributes, we can utilize workflows to get more visibility into that. We can also drive adherence to corporate and industry standards. So a lot of this can be templates. You utilize certain templates to meet all of the requirements. So like automotive industry, APQP is so big, you have to adhere to APQP. Everyone has to follow APQP. So you build an APQP template, really checks a lot of those boxes up front. And then finally, I've said it 100 times today, all about collaboration. Collaborate internally in a project, collaborate externally in a project, track all the progress, and make sure that you're hitting your deadlines and that you're, not losing any money by being late or losing information or falling behind schedule or any of those sorts of things. So that's what I had planned to go through today for Windchill Project Link. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And I'll hand it back over to Rob.
Jack, thank you very much. Very direct, easy to understand. Great presentation, great overview as always. So thank you very much. Want to thank everybody for being on today. And sometime tomorrow, you should receive an email from me with a link to this webinar on our YouTube page so that you can share it with your colleagues or watch it again. And feel free to reach out to me or 3HTI if you have any questions regarding Windchill or any other PTC solutions like Creo Parametric or the or Codebeamer for compliance and requirements management. And we can be reached at info at 3hti.com, or you can just reply to the email invitation that was sent to you, and that will come directly to me. So thanks again for being on. Have a great day, and God bless.
Rob.